I like to write about inconsequential social issues like love, marriage, and sex discrimination. So my first poem is called Love. Love is joyful, love is kind, love is precious, love is blind. Let me tell you this, my friend, it's always painful in the end. Now, if you're going to go in for love and you want a happy life, this is the advice I would give to all men. If you want a happy life, the best thing is to take a wife. But if you fancy having two, I'd change my mind if I were you. For all the evidence I see suggests it's better to have three. Now, if you are going to take a wife, one of the first things about having a happy marriage is respect. My wife's a timid, shy wee thing. I'm sure the Lord will bless her. For years I've said, just call me Bob. But still she answers, yes, sir. And the other thing about making a marriage last is fidelity. The world is filled with gorgeous folk, and half of them are female. But I have pledged my flesh to one. The rest I love by email. And if you have a wife, you've got to know how to introduce her. And that brings you into conflict with the irregular verb to be. I am here. This is me. No, it's not. This is he. My wife and I call us we. Not him and her, but he and she. So, we are here, as you can see. But is it us, or are it we? Once you have a wife, you then have the running competition to get on together. And this is a little poem called After Church on Sunday. My wife, a staid and upright dame, returned from church all smiling. She winked at me beneath her hat and gave a smile beguiling. She pulled her gloves off with her teeth and tipped her hat askew, then strutted pouting through the lounge the way that strippers do. I sat there in my slippered feet, my face deep in the papers, and feigned complete indifference to her strange, unseemly capers. She snatched the paper from my hand, took it to the kitchen, returning with it wrapped all round and clearly not a stitch on. I scanned her for the price of shares in all the major cities, and read the football headlines which were splashed across her titties. Then to the floor the newsprint fell, and as the pages scattered, my wife stood in her birthday suit and shook the bits that mattered. I sensed abandon in her eyes, sure sign that she was frantic. And so I asked, what time is lunch? Which proves I'm not romantic. Now, this is a poem about the very difficult proposition of sharing your wife with a yacht. And it's about the Gairloch yacht, a little class of wooden boats kept in the Gairloch. They're nearly 100 years old now. And for some reason, I always read this with an English accent, or a Scottish version of an English accent. So it's called The Wife, a Yacht and a Bottle of Gin. A man with a well-varnished Gairloch, whose face were all wizened and thin, he took passage from Shandon to Clinder with his wife and a bottle of gin. He tapped and he jibed and he shouted in the teeth of a northerly gale, till his wife, seeing no sign of progress, advised him to put up a sail. As he hoisted the main with a twist in, from the foredeck his faithful wife squealed, "We haven't let go of the mooring!" Then over to starboard they heeled. Unleashed from the fetters of mooring, the yacht made a run for the shore, and the wife made a dive for the tiller, screaming, "I can't take any more." "Ready about," the wife shouted, as the boom it came flanging across, and it struck her old man in the forehead. As he roared out, "It's me that's the boss," he were felled to the deck like a dead man. His nose, it were broken and numb, while his wife at the tiller stood roaring. She wished that she never had come. His specs, they were not to the bilges, where he grappled to little avail. So he called to his wife to do something, like get out a bucket and bail. At length, in the murk of the cuddy, his hand felt the bottle of gin, which he drank all at once in a fervour, then gazed at his wife with a grin. He gazed from that bilge paralytic, shouting nautical things at the sky, and laughing insanely at seagulls, till one landed a shot in his eye. All day his wife stood at that tiller and fought with a wild raging sea, till at sunset she cried in a panic, "I'll burst and I don't have a wee." So the bucket were passed to the cockpit for the helmsman to have her relief. But with tiller and oilskins to cope with, the exercise ended in grief. She were perched on the edge of that bucket, her cheeks fully exposed to the breeze, and she piddled all over her trousers, which were pulled halfway down to her knees. "To hell with this sailing," she hollered. "We're selling this boat in the spring, and in future, if we're going sailing, it's not in this clinker-built thing. This thing, dearest wife, is a Gairlaw, a yacht with a real touch of class, but the bucket I gave you to pee in was too small for the size of your ass." So the man, with a well-varnished Gairlaw, whose face were all wizened and thin, he got rid of his wife in the springtime and just sails with his bottle of gin. Now, keep this advice on you sailors. If you want to share wife with your yacht, make sure that it's got a nice toilet that fits snug on the feminine bot. Moving quickly on from marriage to irregular relationships, this little poem is called Barbie Doll. My Barbie doll's completely wrecked. She's been a single mother, and I had thought the Action Man just loved her like a brother. And of course, sometimes you have products in irregular marriages which are called love childs. So this is a note on a love child. "I think it is so very sad that little bastards have no dad." Now, on to sex discrimination. This is going to be politically incorrect, probably, but it's called not gay. Hip hip hooray! I am not gay. That's all I have to say today, but hey, I'm just not gay. I'm not that way, not today. Today I'm sad, just bloody sad. It's just too bad, I'm not glad, not today, but hey, I kick in heads and sort out neds. I'm macho man. I don't like chicks in clickety-clicks. I hate their giggles, hate their screams, hate their perfumes, hate their creams. I've had my fling, it's not my thing. I like my cat, and he's not gay. No way, Jose. He likes to stray and have a spray. And by the way, I ought to say, I had the creature snipped today. And this is a final little poem about persecution. Persecution complex. I have a chip on my shoulder. Not because I'm ethnic minority or victim of prejudice or woman starved equal opportunity. No, because it was dropped by a passing seagull. But why me, O Lord? Why me? And finally, I started off my first poem. I said that always painful in the end, and this is a little poem I wrote when I lost my wife to cancer. No one now to welcome me, or wave a friendly hand, none to hear my whispered word, to smile and understand, no one now to say, take care, or catch me when I fall. Just a lifeless, empty house and memories, that's all.